Hey guys, it's Cass. I hope you're all doing well. I am going to be doing a bit of a random video today. I have a bunch of different little topics that I want to talk about that aren't long enough for their own videos, so I'm just going to kind of throw them all in here. We're going to call it like a miscellaneous bookish chat or something like that. But I wanted to talk a little bit about my 2023 storygraph stats because I forgot to include that in one of my wrap-up videos. And then I also wanted to just talk about some like 2024 plans and some books that I want to get to both like this month and next month, and just for the rest of the year. I have a little list of things that I am trying to prioritize. As far as my storygraph stats for 2023, I set my goal at 52 books and I think 13,000 pages, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't really care about the page count. I don't know. It just seems kind of like an arbitrary number to me. My goal was 52 books. I ended up reading 111 in 2023, and that came out to 28,695 pages. So beat both of those goals. I'll put in what my 52nd book was, but I know it was back in like June. It was like halfway through the year. So I'm really happy with that. I guess for some backstory, I got back into reading back in 2021 in like May, like halfway through the year, and I read 10 books in 2021 and I was like, okay, yeah, this is a fun hobby. And then 2022 we just like exponentially increased and read 100 books in the year. So now I'm up to 111. According to Storygraph, my top moods were reflective, emotional, and challenging, which checks out. My most read authors were Rachel Cusk, Joan Didion, and Deborah Levy. I'm pretty sure I read 4 books by each of them. My average rating was 3.98 stars. I think in 2022 it was like 3.94, so we got a little bit better. My books were split 61% fiction and 39% nonfiction. One of the other things that I wanted to talk about real quick was just some like reading plans and goals for 2024, I guess. I don't do any like challenges or any like strict reading lists or anything like that, because that's just not really my vibe personally. I think it's really cool when people do that. I like hearing updates about those, but I just know that I won't be able to stick to something like that. So I set my book goal at 52 again. I think I upped the pages to 15,000. Like I said, I feel like that's just such an arbitrary thing. I wanted to keep it at 52 this year because I know that that's a number that's like realistic and attainable for me. It's a book a week, and I know that that's a pace that I can keep up with. And that way there's just some like wiggle room if, you know, things would happen and I would get busy and I wouldn't be able to read as much. You know, I'm not gonna fall behind in that goal. So yeah, I also just feel like if I keep upping it, you know, if I set the goal at like 125 this year, knowing that I read 111 last year, like that's gonna get to a point that is very unsustainable. Like I just will not be physically capable of reading that much. But I really want to focus on quality over quantity in 2024, which I feel like I did that in 2023 as well. And I think that that's part of why I was able to read as many books as I did, because I was, you know, enjoying them and moving through them. So I really want to kind of continue with that in 2024, and if it means, you know, maybe slowing down the pace a little bit, that's okay with me. You know, I never want reading to feel like it is a chore or something where I just need to like check the boxes and hit some arbitrary goal. That's not what I'm going for with this. Another plan or goal is to buy less books, which is really funny considering I'm visiting like at least 4 bookstores this weekend. But I just really want to take advantage of like Libby and going to my library, and I have a Scribd subscription, which I think that's like $11 a month. So as long as I read 1 book a month on there, like I'm getting my money's worth. But there's so many books that I have saved on there that I want to get to, and you know, I can always buy a book after I read it from the library or online if I really enjoyed it and want to have it on my shelves. So yeah, one of the things that I want to do too is like checking to see before I buy something, like, is it available in some other manner, which is super easy to do with like the Libby and Scribd apps. I can just search for it real quick, but that way I'm just kind of being a bit more strategic about the books that I'm buying. Another component in buying less books is reading more from my TBR shelf, which I counted the other day when I was going through and figuring out what books I wanted to unhaul, and I have over 100 books in my apartment that I have not read. The number is probably closer to 150, to be so honest with you. That's a lot of books, you know, and I am gonna get rid of some that I'm not interested in at the moment, but it's like I could have just not bought those. And kind of going hand in hand with that, I just want to be more intentional about the books that I do buy. I'm really guilty of going to the used bookstore and coming out with too many books because, you know, they're half price, they're cheap, and they're available, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'll get it. So I don't want to do that nearly as much anymore. And I really want to prioritize buying books from indie bookstores. My favorite one in Pittsburgh is White Whale Bookstore, which go in there tomorrow. Very excited about it. I don't use Amazon to buy books at all. It's not the vibe for me. So I'm not like worried about that aspect of it, but smaller publishers and presses is something that I think that I really want to get into in 2024 as well, because I feel like I'm looking on more of their websites and I'm just finding so much cool stuff that I want to read. So yeah, just like focusing on just cool stuff, you know, translated stuff, feminist stuff, queer stuff, stuff from authors of color, and just really making an effort to, you know, support writing from different perspectives than mine, and just, you know, giving those works that attention that they deserve, because that's tends to be what I'm interested in anyways. So yeah, the last plan or goal that I have is just really taking the time to sit with and engage with what I'm reading. I feel like I'm being forced to do that a lot more just by having this channel and making these videos. You know, I want to be able to talk about the ideas that are presented in the book and give my take on things, and, you know, just be able to summarize and discuss what I'm reading, because that is, I think, what makes these videos interesting. And I feel like sometimes in the past I've been guilty of just kind of speeding through a book and not really taking the time to like soak it all in and really hear what it has to say and kind of explore the themes and messages a bit deeper. So, you know, that's something that's helpful for me just like as a person and for my little brain as well as this channel. Yeah, I mean, obviously another goal for 2024 too is to just keep posting these videos. It's been so much fun and just so rewarding to have, you know, more people to talk about books with. I feel like I've had more success with this than I ever envisioned whenever I started, and I've only been at it for like 2 months, so I'm super happy with it, and I definitely want to keep up with it and continue having fun on here. Hey guys, me again. I wanted to film the last segment of this video and talk about some books that I want to read in 2024. I have a list of some stuff that I want to prioritize for January and February, and then a list for just the rest of the year. I just put these together very loosely. I've been kind of putting off doing this because I'm in a mood right now where I just want to read everything. So I was struggling to come up with some curated lists. So these are subject to change. Yeah, I'm currently reading Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler and Writers and Lovers by Lily King. So I'm enjoying both of those. And then I'm also working on filming an ARC or like galley vlog. So I'm working on some 2024 releases as well for that. But yeah, I realized I forgot in the 2023 storygraph stats section to mention this. But in 2023, I read 57 books that I physically owned, 29 books from Scribd, 20 from the library or Libby, and then 10 that I borrowed from friends. So hoping to continue to work through stuff that I own and taking advantage of Scribd and the library and Libby. For January and February, I have a couple books from Scribd that I'd like to get to. Those are After the Winter by Guadalupe Nettel, Freedom is a Constant Struggle by Angela Y. Davis, and Against the Loveless World by Susan Abulhawa. Physical books for January and February are The Bloater by Rosemary Tonks. I heard about this one from The Left-Handed Reader and I'm really looking forward to it. Check out 19. This would be a reread for me. I just picked this up at Half Price Books the other day. A Year and a Day by Phillip Lopate. These are essays from a weekly blog that he had written. The Right to Sex by Amia Srinivasan. This is a book that is rolling over from my November and December TBRs that I'm really looking forward to. And finally, we have Alien Daughters Walk Into the Sun by Jackie Wang. This was a recent pickup. I don't know a ton about it, but it seems like it has a lot of interesting different forms at play. For the rest of the year, I just picked books that are on my shelves physically currently. I didn't want to go through Scribd or like my Goodreads TBR and try and find other stuff to add to it, so I just kind of shopped my shelves in an attempt to read some of my physical books that I own. First one being the selected works of Audre Lorde, How to Be Both by Ali Smith. I read the seasonal quartet in 2022 and 2023 and I enjoyed it, but I'm curious to try her other work. As Consciousness is Harnessed to Flesh by Susan Sontag. This is the second volume of her diaries. I read the first volume at the beginning of 2023, so I want to get to this one this year. Near to the Wild Heart by Clarice Lispector. I am on a lispector journey, and I think that this is the next one of hers that I want to pick up because it was her first novel. Beloved by Toni Morrison. I loved Sula back in 2022, and I read the Song of Solomon last year, and I would like to continue my journey with this one. I also have The Bluest Eye on my shelves as well. I would like to read more than just Beloved from her this year, so we'll see how many I can get through. The Story of a New Name by Elena Ferrante. I read the first book in the Neapolitan Quartet last year, and I am probably going to pick this one up over the summer to kind of continue that tradition, I guess. Or making it into a tradition. Heaven by Miko Kawakami. I really loved Breasts and Eggs, and I enjoyed All the Lovers in the Night, and I've had this one on my shelves for a little while, so I want to pick it up this year. The Corrections by Jonathan Franzen. I was convinced by Jalen from the Bar in the Bookcase to read Crossroads last year, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought that I would, so I want to pick up another Franzen in 2024. Finally, To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. I've had kind of a hit and miss history with Virginia Woolf. I really loved Orlando, but Mrs. Dalloway didn't really hit for me. I thought A Room of One's Own was good as well. That's one that I would like to revisit, but yeah, I think this is going to be the next one of hers that I haven't read that I'm going to try. Thank you for tuning in. Let me know what your reading plans are for 2024, if you have any goals that you're going to set, if there are any books that you're really looking forward to reading. I would love to hear about them. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.